Okay, I am back making a follow-up video to the one that I posted yesterday showing a post-COVID-19 environment in Cape May. This video I'm just going to ride around North Cape May and Lower Township, maybe up to the villas, to try to share with everybody some of the changes that have happened in North Cape May and Lower Township, primarily as a result of COVID-19 and the coronavirus pandemic, but also some of the changes that have just generally taken place since the last time I made a moto vlog. So I am in North Cape May right now. Coming up to the traffic light up here is Bayshore Road. And as I ride around, I will try to point out some of the things that are different, and I'll indicate whether those differences are a result of the coronavirus pandemic or just, development and things that have taken place over the past 6 years since I last made a video. First, coming up on my left, even before, in fact, I'll pull into the parking lot. Even before I get to Bayshore Road, this restaurant here on the left, which is called Red Brick Tavern, used to just be all indoor dining. And as you can see, they have, in response to the coronavirus, they have landscaped the front of their restaurant to make it more outdoor dining because no one can go indoors. So this is entirely new. This has just been open for probably the last month or so. And given the time of day, it's obviously there's nobody here. It's probably about noon or so. So maybe some people will come for lunch. You can see them setting up the umbrellas. But this is one new thing due to coronavirus. This facility, this assisted living facility, Genesis right here, was the site of some early spread of coronavirus down here in Lower Township, and they had a number of deaths, similar to the kind of situation that happened in New York City. And a good portion of the number of fatalities due to COVID that occurred in Lower Township were at that facility. Now coming up here, I want to show on the right, this is a restaurant by the same owner of Tish's over in Cape May, and this is 5 West Pub, and they too have expanded outside to provide a little outdoor dining, as you can see in this patio, which was not here 5 months ago. Obviously no indoor dining here either, so it extends a little bit in the back, but this is new. So I'm coming up on Bayshore Road here. Nothing really new here to point out. And as you would suspect, since Lower Township over here is not as commercial as Cape May City proper, there's not as many visible impacts of COVID-19. What I neglected to point out yesterday when I was talking about some of the consequences, and I mentioned the J1 visa and the halting of issuing all J1 visas and the impact that had on the availability of labor to some of the establishments. What I neglected to point out was just probably the most profound impact, which is just the general state of the economy. Cape May, as I mentioned, and as everybody probably knows, is largely an economy driven off of the hospitality industry. And with so many millions of Americans unemployed or fearing unemployment, even if they're not unemployed, I'm sure that has had a very harmful impact on businesses in Cape May. Turning here on Breakwater Road, so I come up and just show a little bit of the airport, which is, a small airport. There's been some development here and some changes, not in response to COVID, just general changes in development that occur in any place over a period of years. It's August 3rd, and it is an absolutely beautiful day today. This storm is supposed to hit here tomorrow. The brunt of the storm is going to be tomorrow. It might start to rain later today, and I think the name of the storm is Isaias, if I'm not mistaken, and there's no sign of it now at all. There's not a cloud in the sky. It's absolutely beautiful here. Temperatures are very mild, probably in the mid-80s, low to mid-80s. It's a wonderful beach day for anyone down here, but tomorrow's going to be a complete washout for sure. As I mentioned before, I do all these motovlogs on the Ninja instead of the Harley. And I think the reason that I was thinking about this last night, why did I start recording these videos on the Ninja as opposed to the Harley? And I think it's probably because the GoPro camera is easier to affix to a full face helmet. And generally speaking, I use a half helmet when I ride the Harley and a full face helmet when I ride the Ninja. So up here is, these structures are new. They've only been here for about the last 3 or 4 months. I'm going to turn into the entrance to the airport just to show Cape May Brewing Company. This was a really remarkable, successful business story. When this business began, probably about 10 years or so ago, it was 3 guys that started this business. And they were 2 young kids and the father. And over the past 10 years, they have built this business into something really extraordinary. They have their beers now all throughout South Jersey, all the way up into and including Philadelphia. I think the last time I talked to one of the owners, they were up to well over 50 employees. And they're located in this little strip here and it's basically a craft beer. There's been a number of other breweries that have opened up in the past several years, probably owing to the success of Cape May Brewing Company. It's right there. Now, you cannot go in to the tasting room inside anymore because of coronavirus. So what they have done, and I'll show you that in a moment when I go around the back, they have set up, as you can see, a large tent, and the covering isn't on it right now, but you can see all of the umbrellas, and this is where they serve their guests. And this was not here years ago, but now it is the only way they can accommodate guests. But you can still stop by and pick up beer curbside pickup to take home. But that's another impact. You can see how some of these businesses have had to adapt and cope with the changes that have hit them. And I think the businesses that do adapt and change are really very successful, because any business can succeed if the world turns out to be exactly as you contemplated it when you started your business. But it's really when circumstances change and the world is very different than what you envisioned, do you have the ability to adapt to those changing circumstances. And while I'm sure all of these businesses are still not making money this year, they're in a survival mode and trying to ride out the storm. Not all of them have been successful at riding out the storm. There's been a number of businesses that have closed, restaurants specifically that have closed, that were unable to adapt. But a lot of these businesses, as you can see, they've adapted to the change by putting in accommodations to facilitate outside dining. And Cape May Brewery is one good example of that. And I showed 5 West Pub, and I showed Red Brick Tavern, other examples over here in Lower Township. This is the airport, small airport. There was talk about building an aquatic center over here by Lower Township, and they actually took a vote on that, I think, and I'm not sure what the results of the vote was. It was a non-binding kind of situation, but I know that the local officials wanted to construct an aquatic center for use by the residents, the year-round residents. And for one reason or another, it got put on hold. And although I don't know this for sure, I wouldn't be surprised if COVID contributed significantly or was the sole cause of putting that aquatic center on hold, because the local government, I am sure, is experiencing a significant loss in tax revenue, and they have to adapt just like every business does. I'm riding down Railroad Road right now. This road will take you over into Cape May. When I cross over that bridge to cross the canal, this road would, if I continued straight, would take me right over into Cape May, and it would turn into Broadway. My wife and I went over to Cape May last night, on Sunday night, just to walk around the Washington Street Mall, and it was actually very crowded, which I guess sort of contradicts some of my comments about the economy not doing well down here, because it was really crowded last night over on the Victorian Mall, and so much so that my wife and I felt uncomfortable walking around the crowds. About half of the people were wearing masks and about half were not. We were, but we didn't really feel that comfortable because it was not possible to really socially distance in that environment walking along the mall. And with only about half of the people wearing masks, we decided to turn around and go home. So we were only over there for about 15 or 20 minutes. We didn't even go into any stores. So this is the other end of Town Bank Road here. I'm going to turn right, and Town Bank ends at the Delaware Bay, and maybe I'll just continue going straight down Town Bank to the Delaware Bay to show that. Up on the left, I do want to show our local parish church, Catholic church here, and there's a very visible sign of coronavirus that you'll see in a minute when I get to the church. We split our time. My wife and I split our time between our home just outside of Philadelphia and down here in Lower Township. And I have to say that the churches down here, at least the ones that we attend, are much more disciplined about safety precautions in the wake of COVID than our church is up in outside of Philadelphia. Here you'll see they limit the capacity. You cannot get into the church here if you're not wearing a mask, and getting beyond the people that monitor whether you are wearing a mask when you walk in, they also take your temperature as you walk into the church. So if you don't have a mask and you don't have a temperature, or if you don't have a mask, or if you have a temperature, you cannot even proceed further. if you don't have a temperature, they let you go in, but then you reach another station and they have a hand sanitizing station set up where they sanitize your hands, and then they escort you to a pew, and the pews are roped off. Only every other pew is available to sit in, and you don't get to choose where you sit. They have ushers that will escort you to a place to maximize the social distancing. They also have discontinued collections, and after you receive communion here, you immediately exit the church to the side. You're not allowed to return back to the pew. But if you can see this sign here, no masks, no mass, and the seating is limited to 135, which is about, I would say, about 25% of the capacity. So they have people monitoring how many people are coming into the church. Unfortunately, capacity constraints hasn't been a problem for the Catholic Church for a number of years. Attendance has been dwindling at Mass for quite a time. I was thinking to myself last night, why are all of my moto vlogs recorded on the Ninja? And I think the reason for that is that the GoPro camera is much easier to affix to a full face helmet than it is to a half helmet. And when I ride my Harley, which I do far more frequently than I ride this Ninja, the Harley is a 2003 Fat Boy. I use a half helmet when I ride that, so there's no place to really affix the GoPro camera to on the half helmet. Whereas when I ride the Ninja, as I'm doing now, and it is a Ninja 650R, I saw some comments that people made on videos that I posted years ago where they were questioning whether I was really on a 650R, because it sounded to them like a Ninja 250 or a Ninja 300, but it is a 650R. But whenever I ride this motorcycle, I always use a full face helmet, and it's much easier to affix the camera to a full face helmet. So that's really the reason why, even though I ride the Harley Davidson Fat Boy far more often than I ride the Ninja, all of my moto vlogs are made while riding the Ninja. So I'm coming down to the end of Town Bank Road here, where it will end at Beach Drive. And I guess the last thing I'll point out on this video is this is another noteworthy change since the videos I made about 6 years ago, totally unrelated to COVID. There was a project undertaken a few years ago, and it was referred to as the Beach Drive Pedestrian Safety Project. And the Township wanted to spend, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I forget, I'm not even going to mention an amount because I'll probably be wrong. But they issued some bonds, and they wanted to undertake a project ostensibly to improve pedestrian safety along Beach Drive. And there was a large number of people that were very opposed to that project. One reason being that it was a project that was undertaken as a preventative measure. There were no, to the best of my knowledge, no serious injuries to any pedestrians along the road. But I guess the local government officials felt that it was an accident waiting to happen, and in an abundance of caution, they wanted to undertake this project. The people that were opposed to that project primarily felt that doing so would destroy the bucolic scenery down here and the dunes. But as you can see, if you compare to the video I made years ago, the most notable thing is a sidewalk that they've installed on the beach side of this road. Years ago, if you look at my video riding around North Cape May, when I was coming down this road, there was no sidewalk. So this woman that's walking along here, and anybody that walks or jogs, would be doing it in the street. And they felt that as the number of people coming here grew and traffic grew, it was unavoidable that eventually somebody would be hit and it would be a fatality. So they wanted to put this sidewalk in to enhance pedestrian safety. They also repaved this road, and they actually made it handicapped accessible. So you can see right there where people that are handicapped now have access to get to the beach. The people that were opposed to it were primarily opposed because of a fear that it was going to destroy the dunes. And I have to say, I shared that view, and I was opposed to the project. But I have to confess, I was proven wrong, because I think they did a nice job on this. And as you can see on the video, the dunes are, it's still very, very nice. They haven't ruined anything. But this was a very hotly contested issue down here. There was a number of township meetings, and people were very, very vocal and very animated. In fact, I think initially the project was all set to go, and there was such a large outcry from people that the council changed their mind and canceled the project and tabled it. Several years went by, and there was a new council sitting, newly elected members, and they resurrected it. And I have to give them credit. I think they held a number of meetings in the evenings where people could come and look at architect renderings, and they had some engineering studies done, and I think it was reasonably well managed. And the project is complete, and you saw for yourself how it looks. You can judge for yourself how it compares to Beach Drive in one of my earlier videos that I made. I think it was titled Riding Around North Cape May on a Ninja. I'm coming down to Douglas Park. There's nothing new to show down here. What I should point out is, I don't know if I mentioned this on my videos before, but this is actually a very nice road to come down after Thanksgiving, because all these trees off to my right, local residents at their own expense and at their own time come down and decorate these trees like Christmas trees. So it looks very festive, and maybe this year I'll consider taking a ride down here to show what this looks like when the trees are decorated. So local residents decorate it after Thanksgiving, and after Christmas they take it down. This is Douglas Park. This is where the Cape May Lewis ferry departs from. This is the canal. Across the canal is Higby Beach, and you can see, or probably cannot see on this video, but there are some people on the jetties fishing. It's an absolutely beautiful day. As I said, be interesting to compare and contrast this with tomorrow. In fact, maybe I'll take a ride down in my car to document this this tropical storm that's coming up the coast. All of the boats that go out from the Cape May Marina to the Delaware Bay come out this channel. And this is the Cape May Lewis Ferry Terminal here. I uploaded the video that I made yesterday to YouTube, and of course I don't know if anybody will see it because I probably have, I don't know, I didn't check, I probably have 5 subscribers or something, and most of them are family and friends. I don't really do anything to promote my channel. But now that I'm retired, I might get a little more active in making some videos. I know I talked about doing that 6 years ago. I talked about taking a ride over into Wildwood and maybe up to North Wildwood and Stone Harbor and Avalon. Maybe I'll get around to doing that. Turning here at Rose Hill. So anyway, I hope this gives a little perspective on how some of the things in North Cape May have changed over the past 6 years. It's a more current view of what the environment looks like, some of the changes that have occurred because of COVID, and some other changes that have occurred just through the normal development that any community would go through. So I think I will post this video, or at least I will attempt to post this video, and maybe the day after tomorrow, after the storm passes, I will take a ride up into the villas and post a video of the villas, or go over to Cape May Point. I made a video years ago riding around Cape May Point. It's really one of my very favorite little communities down here. I could not afford to own a home over there, but they've renovated Lake Lily, and it is really, really beautiful. So if I get a chance, I'll take a ride over, maybe on Wednesday, depending upon what my wife and I are doing. So anyway, to anybody that happens to be looking at this, I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.